It was Shapiro. Without a doubt, he was the #1 op. And people don't realize, but in those days, Shapiro was worshipped. He was the guy. And that's before anyone was hip to any of the Jewish stuff, Israel stuff. People weren't seeing it back then. And so they just looked at him as like a debate bro. Maybe they didn't even really know he was Jewish or even what that meant. They didn't really know the context with Israel. And so they looked at him as like a very far-right debate bro who was a no-holds-barred debater. Like when he went on Piers Morgan and debated about gun control, or when he went on college campuses and owned the liberals, they saw him as like as fasci, like a fasci-based young debate guy. And Shapiro, of course, was a never-Trumper. And that is because he recognized what Trump was and like the potential of what Trumpism could become. Because when you say America first, it is basically the inverse of that is like not Israel first.
Right.
Because it's like, well, why would you need to declare America first? Who is coming before America? Well, you know, some people might say the UN. Some boomers might say that. But the real people know who comes first when we talk about the war in Iraq. Who is put first there? And some of these other things. Now, Trump, he meant the whole international system. He meant like South Korea, Germany, because we had troops deployed there. He meant even these companies benefiting from offshoring the jobs or free trade agreements or things like that.
Come to find out now with hindsight, Trump meant America first over everything, maybe except for Israel.
Yes, right. Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, Shapiro, it's sort of ironic, like me and Shapiro in like a weird horseshoe kind of a way, we both saw what Trumpism really was.
Right.
No one else saw it. No one else, like,
right.
And people were arguing back then, like, is Trump a Nazi? No, he's not. He hires black people. He's pro-Israel. You know, but like me and Shapiro both heard the signal through the noise. We understood kind of the significance of what was implied, which is he's planting a seed here where if you're not kind of brainwashing the boomers by telling them who's a true conservative and who's not conservative, if you cut to the chase and say, we say Merry Christmas here, this is America, we're building walls to keep people out, and we're nationalist. And Trump in particular is always talking about the American story. Pioneers, the explorers, the settlers, the industrialists.
He's quoting Napoleon.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Quoted Mussolini.
Yeah, oh, did he?
You remember that?
I missed that one, no.
He said in the campaign, he said, he tweeted, better to live one day as a lion than 100 as a sheep. And some journalist said, do you really want to be associated with Mussolini? And he goes, I want to be associated with interesting quotes. He goes, I was like, so good.
Yeah.
But
where's that guy?
Right. I miss him.
Yeah.
And, you know, but what they feared, what Shapiro feared, is that he was a populist. Like he was really rallying the peasants in an anti-elite message, saying like the problem is the elites, the rich, the government. He was rallying the rubes around the flag and the cross, less so the cross, more so the flag, but there was still, it was implicit. It was sort
Christian
of implied.
rhetoric. Yeah.
Right. And, you know, that's just like naturally anathema to someone like Shapiro. And by that, I mean, someone who is Jewish, pro-Israel, like he sees where that's going. So he was stridently never Trump. And I remember that when I was introduced to Shapiro, not directly, but this friend of mine texted Shapiro. I told the story on PBD, and she said, you got to take this guy under your wing. He's amazing. She goes, he's a little Trumpy, but you can show him what's what. And the implication is like, they knew that Trumpism was the problem. And that's why it was very important that they assimilated Trumpism into conservatism and that they neutralize anyone that Trump activated, that he awakened.
Yeah.
They wanted to suppress anything that looked like Buchanan, Sam Francis, Charles Lindbergh, the old America First Committee, the Know-Nothings. They wanted to suppress that great tradition, which has been alive in America for a long time.
It seems like, you know, first wave Shapiro as a Buckley for you, and then later on Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
Did you guys ever I imagine you didn't, but did you ever get to talk to each other directly?
No.
No. He just would never, just pretended that you didn't exist?
Yes.
Did he ever name you though?
He did.
Okay.
Once.
Okay.
That was the only time he volunteered my name. Because other times he was asked about me, and he would deliberately avoid even saying my name. He would just say like, that person, that guy is a troll. But one time during the Groyper War, at the end of it, it was the most brutal event. It was at Houston. And so he was outside at a small table, and he was literally just mobbed. Like there was a angry mob that surrounded the table of Groypers. And it was the most rowdy one because, at that time he was doing all these events and they were pretty tame.
Right.
And then the Q&A line would form and like most of them would be Groypers and they would respectfully wait their turn. They'd have their little question, their rosary, their MAGA hat, and they'd go up and respectfully ask the question. And Charlie would answer. He'd get jeered a little bit, but this one was like out of control because it was out in the open. He was at a small little table and he was just surrounded by Groypers screaming, booing him, yelling at him. It was brutal. And at the end of it, he got a question about me to debate me. And this was like, I get secondhand embarrassment. He had next to him like something covered in like a sheet the entire time. He pulls off the sheet at the very end. It's a TV. And he pulls up a clip from my show from when I was in high school.
Wow.
When I said that I didn't like Trump in like 2015. And I was a senior in high school and I said, Trump is not a serious candidate. He needs to let someone like Ted Cruz win or whatever. But he couldn't get the TV to work. So he pulls off the sheet like, oh, Nick Fuentes, about that. He takes the sheet off. He's going to play this clip. And like the audio's not working. The video's like a classic AV problem. And while he's trying to put this together, people see what's happening and they just start booing him viciously. Charlie Kirk says, Nick Fuentes is a Groyper grifter and I'm out of here. And he gets up to leave and the mob follows him. So he gets up and is walking through the campus getting followed by like 200 people chanting, America first, America first. It was brutal. And that was the only time he ever mentioned me. And I honestly, it makes me a little emotional. It's sort of tragic that I never got to talk to him.
Yeah.
There's like something deeply sad that our clash in many ways sort of defines like the Generation Z dialectic. And it's just a crossover that never happened, never will happen now.
Yeah.
And it's very sad to me.
Yeah, it is sad. Yeah. Who do you think was worse, Shapiro or Kirk? Towards you.
They were both pretty rough. I would say that Shapiro really pursued me with a vengeance, and all of his people did too. They were like flying monkeys. Cabot Phillips was a big one. I know I can't swear on your show, but he was a jerk. Okay. His dad, Tim Phillips, ran Americans for Prosperity, which is like this cutout for like corporations to sell deregulation. And Cabot, so the guy's like royalty because his dad runs this was a very powerful nonprofit. And he was at Campus Reform and this guy was constantly attacking me on Twitter. Now he's at Daily Wire as like their editor-in-chief, I think. But it was him. It was Josh Hammer was with Daily Wire at the time. He was always on my case. Elliot Hamilton, Aaron Bandler, like they had a whole clique always going after me on Twitter. But Charlie was pretty brutal too because they put together like a highlight reel of all the clips compiled by Media Matters on Twitter. Benny Johnson did, who worked at Turning Point, and said, here's Nick denying the here's him saying he hates women, here's him saying something racist about black people. And they were like inquisitors looking for Groypers and Turning Point, firing them wherever they could find them, firing people for being in a photo with me.
Wow.
So they really blackballed me hard. They all did.
And guys, let's be honest. A lot of these people he mentioned moved much closer to the Nick's position You know, he never really changed position. But when you hear them speaking now about women, about Israel, about race, about even immigration, they're really much closer to Nick. They're still too soft compared to him, in my opinion, but at least they're recognizing the truth. Now, if they want to say it, it's up to them. But let me know what you guys think.
Did you have momentum at that point? Or
Yeah.
Or they could just see the potential of what you would become?
In 2017, Shapiro went hard on me because I saw the potential. I had no momentum.
Right.
They just saw, it was sort of like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of saw that I had a force ability and they're like, this guy's going to be a Jedi, you know? In 2019, it was more like Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I'm going to complete your training. Because in the Groyper War, I was surging. Huge live stream audience, huge organic following, doing events. And they really just tried to knock me out of orbit. And largely they succeeded with reputational damage, censorship. I was told that a Jewish fixer got me kicked off YouTube.
Really?
Shortly after that, because as retaliation for the Groyper War.
Wow.
Because the Groyper War was in December. That's when I got my first strike, December 19. And then February 2020 is when I got banned.
Wow.
So, yeah, so they, you know, Daily Wire tried to throttle me in the crib. Turning Point really tried to destroy any momentum I had.
Big difference that I see between, you know, Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro is two. One, and this is a big difference, Charlie was a Christian. Ben Shapiro, no.
Yeah.
And second, Charlie, you know, I wasn't an avid listener, but I would tune in every now and then if something was going viral or see this or see that. And you see, like, you know, some of the early days, and then even not that long ago, maybe 3 years, 3 years ago, 4 years maybe, where he's, you know, like raising his voice and stands up and starts shouting at someone who's saying, what place do openly, you know, aggressively homosexual people have as leaders in the conservative movement? And Charlie's like defending the sodomites, you know, like his natural instinct is like, they're great.
Yeah.
Like, who are you to say that they can't be, you know, a part of this and leading, and does God not love everyone? I mean, just like every cliche cringe you could possibly imagine. But even that, like, to be fair, he shifted. He really did. And so, like, when I think of Shapiro and I think of Charlie Kirk, and you know them both, you know, or about them both much better than I do, but one's a Jew, right? And one's a Christian. That's a pretty big difference, you know. But then beyond that, one seems to be just kind of static. Like, I don't feel like there is any evolution with Shapiro.
No. Whereas
Whereas Charlie, it's sad because it's a brother in Christ, heritage American, and I thought he had some good stuff. I thought he really did, and it's interesting to see what he would have become. You know, like, who knows where he would have landed. I think eventually you guys would have gotten that debate.
I think so.
I think you would have. Especially, here's the thing, I don't think 10 years from now. I think that debate could have happened in 2026.
Yeah.
Like next year. It's kind of crazy to think.
Yeah, I think Charlie Kirk had a chance to fully turn to the right side, and some will argue he was about to, and that's why he was killed. But, you know, let me know what you guys think. But Ben Shapiro, he doesn't care about America. He just cares about Israel. I mean, he said it himself. He wants Americans to work until they die. He wants them to kiss the wall and go to war for a foreign country. So he doesn't care about Americans. But guys, let me know in the comments what you think. If you agree or disagree, leave a like and subscribe if you want to. Christ is King, and God bless you.